I'm curious, when did you feel that I don't need to keep looking for a day job? I don't need to know that I can fall back on being a therapist or whatever you might do if you weren't illustrating and designing. When did you have that moment of, okay, I really can't do this for a living. I can let go and embrace this now?
Wow. So I don't know if it was one moment. I feel like work being a freelancer or sort of an independent artist um always has, its moments of uncertainty. And I still feel that a lot. I thankfully have um a husband who has a steady full-time job, and that is not, he knows when his next paycheck will arrive. Whereas I have been an independent for because after, as a graphic designer, I also worked freelancer for a while. So I was able to sort of do that on my own for the past 7 or 8 years. But it's always, it's sometimes I feel like, oh, I feel very sure, but sometimes it's like I'm hustling, and sometimes it's like, oh, when will I have another book? Will I have another project? So um I still sometimes feel like it's an evolving thing, and maybe, I'll, and sometimes I do, sometimes I take on extra graphic design work, but I'm always looking for new projects, always looking for new things. So yeah. No one ever promises you, like it's not like a guaranteed job, right? There's no, like, I don't get like my monthly paycheck. So it really is, until this day, like project by project, client by client.
You don't read
But I
the
do have an agent, so that, that's always helpful. So yeah.
I think I had this fantasy at one point, and I think a lot of artists do, that you reach the top of the artist mountain and there's, Leonardo da Vinci, and he says, you made it. Here's your guaranteed salary for life. Here are your benefits. You're going to be fine. here's wealth and fortune.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish, and I wish that for all artists to just, get to that stage. I think that some people, there's absolutely some, superstars that I think their work is guaranteed for life. Certainly Caldecott winners for picture books, or people who win Newbery Awards or things like that. I think that um, it's more certain for them, for sure. But yeah, I think just being an artist is it's I knew it going in, and I choose it every day. It's not easy. And I feel very, very lucky that I can be doing this as I do.
And even now, as I'm talking to you, you've got your book that's releasing. You've just done the credit sequence for Mrs. America on Hulu, right? This is where
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that was very
that's a
exciting.
huge high-profile deal. I saw you did a number of high-profile ad campaigns. So even now, you're still feeling like nobody could all go away tomorrow, or is it maybe a little bit more relaxed? It would take 3 months to all go away, or
I think that it's just there's just some days where I feel like I got this, like I've have a bunch of books out, I have a few things in the pipeline, like it will be okay. But then there's other days where it's just really scary, like I get rejected too, and I send things out that don't work out. And um, it's a very, very competitive field. Publishing is also like one of those like really slow things. Really, sometimes I go to a bookstore, and which I love, and I look at the children's section, and it's unbelievable to me how many new books there are, and how they're all being made. So, you know, on the one hand, it could be very, very like exciting, but it could also be discouraging. And so it's kind of both. It's like, wait, how can I get another book out? But there are so many books, so maybe another one can come out. Also, you know, it's very it really has to do with trends. And we see like there'll be like a big trend in like nonfiction, and then a trend in sciencey stuff, and then a trend in this and a trend in that. So you never know, like, are you still going to be relevant 5 years from now? Like, you want to think yes, but maybe not, and you constantly have to evolve, right? So like sometimes I look at my work from 2 years ago and I am like, oh, like I mean, maybe from the outsider, someone will say, oh yeah, it's definitely like it all looks the same. But, you know, I want to think that I'm, you know, evolving and getting better and improving. And sort of sometimes you have to like modify your work or make it like fit to the current moment. And there's always like new artists coming on. So anyways, all this to say is that I absolutely do not feel like I can rest on my laurels and like, oh, this is guaranteed for life. Not at all. I feel like I constantly have to like get myself out there, get more work, get more visibility. How can I get my books to more readers? And how can I constantly grow and improve and get better? For sure, for sure. As an illustrator, as an author, as an artist. Yeah.
I had read that you have a rule that you draw at least one picture every day. Is that right?
Yes, I definitely try to. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a rule, but yes, I definitely create something every day. If it's either write or draw every single day. Yes.
And we're talking like your birthday, the 4th of July, whatever you're
Well, you know, if I'm like on a transatlantic flight, which hasn't happened for a while, and with my 3 kids, and like, I don't know, I'm in a car and, you know, sometimes not, but I like it usually happens that like, even if it's just like a few lines, like I write in my phone. And so it's very easy for me to pull out my phone and I'm like, oh, I have an idea, and I'll just put it down. Or, you know, draw at night or something like that. So yeah, I do try to do it every day. And then of course there's some days like I don't, but that's okay.
you. And I find I'm going to project onto you a little bit because this is something I do. Every book that I'm working on is simultaneously my greatest failure. Why was I even thinking of taking this project on? But also the greatest thing I've ever written, and possibly the greatest book humanity will ever have read when it's finished. Do you value it as well? And do you feel a renewed confidence in yourself as an artist and unbelievable highs followed by some lows, or have you managed to keep it a little bit more even keel?
Absolutely. Absolutely highs and lows and like all the time. And I constantly have to remind myself that it's okay. Like it's waves. Like I'll be feeling really low one day or really high another. And I'll say, okay, it's all temporary. And this is just part of the creative process. I think this is something that took me a while to also really embrace, because there'll be hard days and days where I feel like everything I do is just bad and like no one's gonna ever want to like, you know, acquire it or look at it, or you know, and I have to remind myself that it's just part of the deal. And if there's something really hard, like that, like working through something, and in order to like create something great in the end. Like it's not all like, you know, all the time rainbows and sunshine and unicorns. Like there's days where it's just feels really, really painful. And then just some days where maybe you just don't even have energy to do things. Like you said, you know, it's a rule. Like there's some times where I'm maybe not in a place to create, but I am in a place where I need to just sort of fill myself up, if that makes sense. Because, you know, constantly having creative input is also like really draining and can be really exhausting. So like sometimes I'll have periods where I feel so creative and so energized and so inspired, and I'll be just like working and creating stuff and making new images and, you know, have new ideas and just like all's great. And then all of a sudden I'll have this like crash, or I'll feel like I don't know what to do. I don't have any new ideas. I don't, everything I'm making is bad. And so then I remind myself, like, okay, this is time maybe that I need to sort of like re-energize, rejuvenate, fill up my cup again, um, find a way to be inspired in order to create again. So it's this constant like sort of filling up and putting things out there. And then, you know, and then again with the highs and lows, like it's gonna come and it's gonna go. And I feel like talking with other creatives, hearing other creatives, it's sort of comforting to know that many, many people share the same experience. That this is just, you know, part of the game is to working through something, you know, sort of walking through the forest, collecting things, like fighting the fear or the hard stuff in order to get to the other side with a work that you're really happy with. And I almost feel like the struggle helps you work things out and come ultimately, hopefully, to a better result.